want to update with a new video on the Premier League table. Want to analyze all the teams, what have they done, who's the top goal scorers, and how it's panning out for them. So, in the Premier League table, we can see that Liverpool is running the race, running the riot, running the team. Full backs, centre backs, midfielders, strikers, all up front. Mane, Firmino, Salah, and what I like about the team is that they have really good substitutes who come over there and play with the same intensity. Not the player which is in the first team, but they can provide the same intensity when they come off there, and that's something which I want my team to happen. We don't have a replacement for Kane where someone else can come and step up and still score goals if he's off the game, if he's not performing for the match. If someone needs to come over there and do that, I don't know, but if someone can do that for our team, and that's something which I really wanted. And as our team needs to perform in that level, they need to do all these things. And talking about the defense, they have Van Dijk, they have Matty, they have good left backs and right backs, Robertson and Arnold at the full back positions where they run left and right, match with them, and they have the really good midfielders. They have a Fabinho, who's a good CDM who can hold the ball and can help the defenders playing one to one with them. And then we have really good midfielders of Oxlade-Chamberlain, who is performing recently good with them, has been injured. When we have the attack, we have Firmino who plays as a false nine. They have Sadio Mane. They have Mohamed Salah. So you can see that whole team is a really good unit, and that's how they're performing day in and day out. They're performing day in and day out because Origi steps up when the team is off 0-0 and comes over there and scores the winner 1-0. And there's something which we don't have in the team. A Premier League title can be won. It's not that our first 11 needs to be a good squad. Our first all our 22 players or 28 players who was the what's number, if I'm missing out the number, sorry, the 28 players who was there, everyone needs to come and step up. That's how you can win a Premier League title. It's not that top players can carry you all the game. Lionel Messi can't carry each and every game unless the whole team performs, and that's what's happening to them in Champions League. And Messi needs to perform each and every match for them to carry. That's not going to happen in the football matches where a player can have a really good game, but if a team doesn't perform, you can't win the match. And that's something which Liverpool is having recently, and that's how they're winning them, they holding the title. When you talk about the second position, Leicester City, same thing, same intensity. 11 players, 22 players performing on the not the same level as Liverpool. They're in a different league, yes, but when you have a team where you can do that, that's how you can finish in the top four. A top four you can finish if all players perform and give a full effort. You can't win all the matches. That's not possible. You can win all unless you're invincible like Arsenal. You have a really good season, yes, but you can't win all the matches of a whole season with Champions League and this match, that match, this match going on. You can't do that. But yeah, you need to show the intensity and the fight. And Leicester City, Iheanacho, Jamie Vardy, really good signing, and a marquee player like Vardy who can perform up front and score goals. That's really good. Kasper Schmeichel and the team. Ricardo Pereira as the right back. Ben Chilwell as the left back. Then they have Soyuncu, the Turkish star who's been performing really well this season. That guy. So they have really good midfielders. They have really good centre backs, full backs. What I like about their team is that Brendan Rodgers as the manager is changing the team from last season. You can see that whole football has been changed. The tactics, the football, everything has been changed. After the Ranieri sacking, there had been a huge downfall in the team, but there's a hype after getting good recruits and signings, which has made them come to the top four. I think so. That's the reason the teams of others have fallen. As a United, as Spurs, and everything needs to learn from these teams of how to regain their form back, and that's something which our team needs to regain the form back, come back to the top four position. Then when you talk about the third position, we have the Manchester City. Yes, Manchester City is oh sorry. Second position was Manchester City. Third was Leicester. So second position Manchester City, who's been the runners-up, not performing what they have been doing for the last seasons. Huge drop in let off in what they have been doing. in the season. Not players like Aguero and all have been giving a good performance, but you know that team is capable of winning a hat trick of Premier League, a hat trick of the PL with the team that they have shown for the past two seasons. They have been in the elite performance for the past two seasons, not the same. There's been huge drop off in their team because of injuries like Laporte and team players like Vincent Kompany going off the track to this thing after retirement. They have been a shaky defense, I can say. Not a big thing which they need is not a top two position. They want a challenge for the title, and that's a huge gap with first and second position. And they know that they're not the team which they're before for the past two seasons. And I think so. The letting off of not letting off, not signing off a good defense and has made them drop. Fernandinho or CDM can't perform a CB. Okay, against small teams it's fine, but when it comes to big players like United, Spurs, and all that stuff, they need to find a really good this thing. Benjamin Mendy at left back, I don't think so. That's something they need to develop again. He's getting injured too much, and he has not been performing consistently. Leroy Sané injured, rumors about him going to Bayern. So I think so. They have a few gaps which they need to fill in their team, and that's something which I want to see as the team develops. We go to the Chelsea. Yes, young team. No one expected them to finish in the fourth. We thought fifth, sixth. Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham, Jorginho. Then we have players like Fikayo Tomori has been injured but been performed. Reece James, young players stepping up for them. That's a good sign for them. So they can have a Ziyech which is going to come in. And they're talking about the Timo Werner. I think so. Timo Werner will more suit for the Chelsea team than for a Liverpool team, unless he wants to work for a great manager and wants to stay in the bench. That's his decision. But a Timo Werner will really suit in the in the Chelsea team, which they are lacking for a striker. And then I think so they can come forward and score more goals. And that's something which they really want. Hakim Ziyech coming into the team, right wing. Billion going to leave. So there are sorts of places they need to fill in. A striking position. Tammy Abraham has been performing, but you know, it's a big league. You need someone who's experienced, and that experience will develop. Abraham needs 2-3 years for him to stay in the Premier League, stay in the Chelsea team, and to change into elite squad. I would rather put him in a few loan spells to other teams before he comes to the first team, and that's how Harry Kane has been developed in our team after huge loan spells, and then getting used to big players, and then becoming into a good player. He has a really high potential to become a big player, yes, or he can he needs another good striker where he needs to understand the game more better. That's something which Chelsea really needs. And players like Mason Mount and all, yes, they're great players, but they're really good youngsters, but they're not reached the level. And that's something which they need to do in their team. I wish they have really good wingers and Kante is there, but you need better experienced players and better players who understands the game in the team to actually push up this team to a second or a title challenging team. They lost Hazard and they lost Diego Costa, which were two crucial players who was there. That says Fabregas, man, and Matic. You can see when Conte won the team, he had really good players, experienced players over there who can really perform. And they had Victor Moses, Marcus Alonso, now the same players before, and he's not going to suit with the current teams which have been updated like Liverpool and City, which are playing in different streaks. Marcus Alonso can't battle over there and play in the position. They need to find a left back, they need to find a right back, they need to find a centre back. Yeah, and Chelsea needs to update in the team. Manchester United recent squad development. Bruno Fernandes coming into the team. Bruno Fernandes been performing really well for the Manchester United squad. Changing the team, changing the mentality. I think so. They're going to build a team around him. Paul Pogba might go to Juventus. Something which I expect they're going to do the transfer really well. And yeah, that's something which Manchester United to do. That I don't know if Saul Niguez is going to come in the transfer in a few days. He's announced the signing. Manchester United with the money squad and the development of the squad, they're trying to develop the team. But one thing to say is, Manchester United is not a team where they need to stay in a position where fifth every season, fourth, battling for top four. It's a team which has won titles for the past 10 to 14 years, and when someone talks about this team challenging for the top four, you guys as the fans, you should understand, like, I know it's a huge downfall for you as a club where you need to say I'm challenging for the top four, and comparing teams with lower leagues and teams which haven't won is not something which you guys need to do. Manchester United fans need to be sensible. You know your team is of a disgrace when you're challenging for a top four. You're a team which needs to challenge for the title, needs to be up there. You had players like Paul Scholes, Ryan Giggs, Patrice Evra, Ruud van Nistelrooy, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a good player when he was there. You had great players over there who used to fit into your squad and used to perform. There was a team where used to be like Liverpool in the current, but better than Liverpool in the current, where they had each and every position of high streaks who comes over there. I don't mind sitting on the bench, but if I get the game time, I can go over there score goals. Robert Van Persie used to be great players who used to play with the high intensity, understand the game really well, used to have high integrity. Everything used to be in that team, and now they've lost everything. I don't know why. You can't have a Jesse Lingard in your team, a Paul Pogba out of form. It's not of a great team over there which they're trying to build. Anthony Martial, Marcus Rashford, good prospects, good youngsters, but come on guys, you need better players over there who needs to perform over there and come over there and give up the best. You can't. Rashford and the Martial is good. Bruno Fernandes is a great upgrade. Yes, he's gonna improve in that squad. He's gonna score more goals. He's gonna make a really good playmaker. He might reach the level of Kevin De Bruyne. No guarantee of that, but you need to bring in players. You need to bring a fight you need to bring a fight in your team. You can't rely on players. You don't have a really good bench. The bench is really weak. You need to bring in players. Come on, Manchester United, fight. We need all top six teams who can fight for the title. You can't just let away a team to just grab the title easily. We need a really good fight. We need all these players to update their teams. And Newcastle United, I'll soon talk about that. Yes, but these are some things which Manchester United need to develop. Come on, you need to bring in another. We need to build in an intensity. I don't know what's happening in the dressing room. They didn't update the dressing room. It's not a team which was there before. Yes, Paul Pogba, what's going with this agent Riley, and then all what's happening over there. That's need to get sorted first. Get rid of him. Get rid of the wage bill. Get someone better. Put him in the squad. Left back, right back, centre backs. Phil Jones, come on, you can't play Phil Jones in the centre back position. Harry Maguire, Chris Smalling. These are the players which need to suit in your squad. You have a huge wage budget. You have a huge money. Throw in the players. Get in good players. Getting good players who wants to play for Manchester United. You're getting players like Alexis Sanchez who's not committed to play for the club. It was a huge waste of money, 500 per week. What are you guys doing? I don't know what's the structure, what's going on wrong with that. They need to sort out that really well for their team to develop. Spurs, I need to talk about that, so I'm not going in to do this thing. Wolves, a really good squad, really good team. Raul Jimenez, that's a squad which is developing and I really like about it. And it's a really squad which is actually challenging for the Champions League position. I doubt if Spurs fall off like this, there's a team which is going to go forward and take over us in the Champions League spot. And I really love the team, how they're doing their intensity. Not Sacramento. Nuno Espirito are doing a really good job in Wolves, making a really good team, Portuguese team you can say, but really good players. Jimenez, Mexican star over there, João Moutinho over there, Rui Patricio over there. They have really good experienced players, really good players who knows the game really well. And then they have players like Diego Jota. Then they have players who can actually come off the bench and perform really well. Ruben Neto. Then these guys perform really well. Conor Coady, Ruben Saiz. So really good team over there which they have built. And Adama Traore, should not forget him. A beast over in the mid. This thing, a lot of speculations for other clubs. Really good team. And this team is actually a team which can actually come into the Champions League soon or and a half. Next team I want to talk about is Sheffield United. A shock, a huge shock for all clubs, all teams for them. Chris Wilder doing a really good job over there. Billy Sharp, great players over there which I can talk about in the team, and especially players like who expect a Billy Sharp to come and score goals for Sheffield United, and a lot of players which have been performing really well in the Sheffield United team. I'm missing out many great names. So Dean Henderson has been a really good keeper for them. United wants them back after David Dyer is out. Lundstrom has been a really good part of the defense, which he has done really well over there. And we're talking about Mick Goldrill, Oliver Norwood, all these players for Sheffield United who has been performing really well for the squad and giving it performances. And for them to be in this position is a really good thing. Let's see how they're going to perform in the next season. Can they actually hold the intensity, or they're going to drop off like drop off away from the squad. So that's something which they need to do. Not a team which has huge budgets but can perform at the high level. Appreciate them. We need to give a huge clap for them for being in this position. Uh, Before I go to the mid-table teams, I'll rather switch it off with the relegation battle which is going on. I'll just talk about who is going to be there. Bournemouth, Aston Villa, Norwich. I have a huge thing that the Norwich is going to get knocked out from the Premier League. Started off the season really well. Timo Pukki performing really well, but now not a team which has been expected to perform in that level. Yeah, they need to update the team. They need to come back really well from after they're going back to the championship. They need to develop the team, bring back good players, and fight. You can't sustain in the Premier League playing like this type of football. Inconsistent football, leaky defense. Look, going over there, it's not leaky defense. You can say they're really inconsistent. They perform really well one game, they perform average one game, and they perform this thing. You can't be doing that in this thing, and you need and players where you have really good players in the Premier League and players where teams over there in Premier League, you know how intense it is, how the defense is really hard to break past it, and you know it. You can't keep on leaking off goals. If you leak off goals, it's really hard to score goals. Norwich needs to update the team really well. Aston Villa is another thing. Not a great team. Jack Grealish over there in the midfield can't assisting over there, but can't provide goals. The front is really bad. I don't know. Kamara, I don't know what's his name. Kamara. They bought the new striker from Club Brugge. They actually had Wesley. Wesley has been injured, so yeah, they have need to find this thing. They have Boyan Engels in their defense. They have decent defenders, decent fullbacks and right backs. Goalkeeper Pepe Reina, but yeah, how much can Pepe Reina do? The midfield is a bit shaky. Jack Grealish is there, and the striker needs to be updated. I don't think so. They're going to sustain in this thing. Uh, for the relegation battle, I would put a West Ham and a Bournemouth in the 18th position. Who's going to do this? I think so. Watford might just survive in the Premier League. I feel that players like Troy Deeney, Ismail Assar can actually put them back, and they have players like Jose Holibas, Gerard Delefeu. They're decent players who can actually put them into the Premier League, and they have Adrian Mariappa. Then they have I keep forgetting the defenders. Um, what's that? Yeah, Ben Foster, their defender, and I think Craig Cathcart in their defense. Yeah, Will Hughes. They have decent players who can put them in the Premier League, and they know the Premier League really well. So I think so they'll just stay up in this thing. And Nigel Pearson is there, uh, who can actually put them in the Premier League. They've defeated Liverpool with the 3-1 battering against them. So I think so they'll stay in the Premier League, but they need to play careful. Bournemouth or West Ham is there's two teams which I didn't think. West Ham, yes, people might say no, they have Mark Noble and all that stuff, but no, they have been inconsistent. I have a heavy feeling that it's a Bournemouth and a West Ham in this thing. Bournemouth performing this thing. I don't know what happened to David Brooks. David Brooks was there. Callum Wilson, not the same player before the last season. So they need to update the squad. They need to come up with a new team, a new lineup, and all that stuff. So yeah, that's something which they needed to do. Mid-table team: Burnley, Everton, Palace, Newcastle, Southampton, Brighton. Everton coming back from a huge revive of a squad. I can say revive in the team is the manager Carlo Ancelotti coming over there, changing the team, changing the squad. So there's development. He's been throwing the money to buy players to see his development in the squad. So let's see how it goes for him. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, there's a Theo Walcott. Calvert-Lewin is not a player which I really depend for him to play in the Everton team. They need to find a really good striker who can actually score goals and find the back of the net more frequently. Then the Calvert-Lewin is very really inconsistent and not a player of a high caliber as of now. Needs to develop a lot. Very young. Need to throw in a better players in that slot. I feel like that. Defense is actually really good. Their team is actually really good. I don't know why they perform at the under par level. There's a small error in my video, so couldn't finish off that video of the Prem team's review. So I just left it out in from Everton. Uh, yeah, so the next team that I want to talk about is Arsenal, our rivals and North London rivals. Uh, I hadn't performed well in the start. That useless manager Unai Emery and the team who was there floating around, and I was really happy that the team is getting spoiled and we can take over the position. But as the new getting the change and Michael Arteta has brought in a lot of positive energy over there. It's a team which is needs to be totally redesigned. Uh, New plans, everything needs to come. Board members sometimes work a bit stupidly, making stupid decisions. So I don't know how is that going to work. Players like Aubameyang, will he stay over there? Wants to play more football at a higher caliber. Europa League is not something which Arsenal needs to be there, and something which he wants to play in it. Defense, they have Mustafi and David Luiz, but I think so they need to find in better replacements in that position. Left, the fullbacks are fine as of now, but I would say to play in a higher caliber, the defense needs to improve. Their midfield is also a bit weak. You can say they have Jaka, they have Ozil is not in that same caliber. They need to find someone to replace Ozil. It's very inconsistent. It's very inconsistent. Now I don't know whether he performs also. He performs 1 out of 26 matches. It's something which a high caliber player shouldn't do that, and I think so that needs to be improved in the national team. And yeah, needs to do a great job. Arteta, a lot of work to be done. There's a lot of work in his hand to change this team. Huge work needs to be done. Huge work, and let's see how their team pans out. And talking about their uh, I don't know, their tactics and their formations. They play four at the back, or if David Luiz is there, they can play three at the back. But three at the back is not suitable for an Arsenal team, because David Luiz is more suited at the three at the back, and we can see when Antonio Conte used to play 3-4-3 and won the title against for Chelsea, that usually worked really well. But that time they had players like Costa, they had players like Hazard, they had players in the middle like what's that, Matic, to hold the ball, keep the ball, move around, to keep the defensive shape strong. Then there's a holding midfielder like Matic. Then there's N'Golo Kante, who can intercept balls, push forward, pass, give it to the main player. So the really good there's a really good midfield structure. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I don't know if whether everyone agrees with it. You need to have a proper midfielders in your team which can guide your team to victory. In terms of they're in the middle of the pitch, they have the communication. They have the only communication with the forwards and the defenders to communicate how to play for the whole team. If the middle of the basement, if the middle of the tree is totally ruptured, you can't build a team where of good attack and good defense. Your defense can be average, and your midfield can overcome it by really good communication and a holding midfielders playing a really good way. So if your midfield is ruptured, you can't win games, and that's seen in every team. If you have actually analyzed each and every team, a Barcelona 2011 team had Iniesta, Xavi in the midfield, which was guiding the players of like Messi and all to play a free game. And players like that, when they had Neymar, Suarez, and Messi, there used to be Iniesta, Busquets. Busquets is still in the team, yeah. Iniesta, Busquets, who used to guide the team for them to play a really free flow attack. Even though their defense was an average, these were players used to guide the players, the intellectual players, in terms of playmaker, in terms of where to pass, where to go, how to give a through ball, how to do this thing, so the attackers can go and all that stuff. I'm a Real Madrid team used to win with Ronaldo because they have Toni Kroos and Luka Modric in the midfield at the peak, at the prime time. So they used to win matches. So like players like Benzema and Ronaldo can play more freely. A current Liverpool team winning the matches is because yes, their fullbacks are giving assists, their defense is good, but their midfielders play a really important role in that. There are players like Fabinho who can actually hold the ball and play in the midfield. And players are saying that Coutinho would, if they come back to Liverpool, won't be this thing. If Coutinho is the playmaker who can pass, you can actually add more quality in the team, and that's something which us do. A Spurs team in 2016 Union didn't win title. Christian Eriksen plays an important role where he can make the game so that Harry Kane scores a goal, or Son can score a goal, or Ali can score a goal, because of Musa Dembele and Christian Eriksen in the midfield who can do. Now that thing is ruptured in our squad also. So there's no a proper playmaker. There's Celso and it's Ndombele and Sissoko playing average. Sissoko is also somewhat okay, and Ndombele not playing average and Sissoko playing average, which is rupturing. So if that is ruptured, and Alderweireld and Toby needs to take care of that duty also, which makes them over pressured, and they are a player of 30 to 31 age who is not going to run up the field up and down and match with the youngsters. Nowadays, players from age of 17 to 18 come up so fast. So that's something which their team needs to the team needs to develop is the midfield. And something which I've noticed in the Arsenal team is their midfield is a bit weak. Jaka is there. Jaka is like you can't do Jaka boom, Jaka boom. You need to play the defensive duties. You need to play the attacking duties. You need to know when to go forward. You need to know when to come back. These are all. These are the stuff which our midfielders need to have. That's why there's three departments in midfield. There's a midfielders is the person who's needs to be a guider and an intellectual person to know where to pass, when to pass. You can't do that in a midfielder. Attackers over there need to go forward and strive to score goals. They need to know where they need to shoot from wherever they can in the pitch and try to convert many chances. Our defenders needs to close down the player, needs to go them body to body, get the ball. Our fullback duty is to try to cover the wings properly with huge stamina. So each and every position has different attributes. And if you're high caliber of their attributes and everything, you win titles. Simple. A team which in one position is screwed up with of no high caliber, one thing a player can attack on that thing and finish it off. If you're even if something is average, there needs to be some form of balance in your team. If there's no balance in your team, you can't win anything, and that's huge. And that's when Manchester City, when in their prime, their players like Walker, Mendy, Fabian Delph used to play that roles of left back where they had calibers at that position, and that's how they won titles. Laporte and Vincent Company playing the defensive duty. They had a David Silva in the midfield. They had players like David Silva, and then so that Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling, and Aguero can score goals. So you can see in the midfield how it plays an important role. David Silva and keep forgetting the name. So these are something which they need to develop. Team which I want to talk about is after the Arsenal squad is the Burnley squad. When I'm talking about the Burnley squad, um, yeah, Sean Dyche as the manager had a really good season last year, a really good last season, but not of the caliber right now. They had actually a really good prospect of teams like Goodmanson. They still have Goodmanson, Jeff Hendricks. So I'm just talking about the key players, and Chris Wood and Ashley Barnes plays an important role in their attack. They have players, but not up to the level. They want to keep on. They had a position where they finished sixth and played in the Europa League, but they got knocked out. But if they want to keep on playing, or if they want to try for that position, you need to come forward, because teams like Wolverhampton Wanderers and Sheffield United are improving really well, and uh, they're going to keep on finishing in that position. If so, they need to keep on updating their team, and there's more improvement needs to go in their team. And it's a really average team. Like I said, it's an average Premier League team, not a great team. And to perform in this level, you need to have better players. And I think they need to take a step slowly. They should actually aim, actually in the 10th position, they can actually aim for a 9th or 8th position next season and see how it goes. So to give a competition in the Premier League. So nothing much to talk about their team. A really good manager. I think they sacked the manager for, but let's see how he stays for the team. But like a very average team, they need to work on it, and more like I feel like they're going to finish mid-season next season also. Next player team is Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is very inconsistent in how they perform. They perform really well one game, they lose many matches, 2-3. Then they shine up against big teams. They don't shine up against small teams. It's very inconsistent, and you can't be inconsistent in the Premier League. And talking about their defense is very leaky. Sometimes they give away cheap goals, and their attack is also not. I'm not a good fan of their attack. Instead of Zaha and their attack, there's no one over there who can. Jordan Ayew is average, isn't a consistent player, will bang in goals in and out. So I would want them their attack to even develop and getting more young prospects where they can find good goals up front, and that's something which they need to do. They have players like Jordan Ayew, Patrick Van Aanholt in the defensive shape. And when you talk about Joel Ward, Schlupp, Sacco is a good defender, but okay, James Tompkins, Scott Dan, they got Gary Cahill, the experienced player. Max Mayo is a really good prospect. Andros Townsend, who performs really well. Tristan Benteke, Wilfred Zaha, Tosun and Ayew. So I'm not saying that attack is bad, but what I would say is the attack is very inconsistent. Townsend doesn't perform every weekend and week out. Tosun doesn't perform a weekend and week out. Zaha is the only player who is a prospect who perform weekend and week out. And if he's not seen on the pitch, there's no form of spark in the Crystal Palace team. So the thing is that when you see a Crystal Palace team, they're a team where their attack used to be really good and very sharp players needs to do. I'm not saying a Townsend and Azaha and a Tosun is really bad players. I would say that these players needs to try to develop to perform a really good attack. They need to go in and week out and perform to score goals. It's not about winning the matches, but they need to perform. It's something which this team needs to develop as they go forward. And the next team is after Crystal Palace. I want to talk about the team called Southampton. Southampton, Danny Ings performing really well from Liverpool. This team, what do I say, is like has been living on the strands in the Premier League for the past 3-4 years, not getting relegated. Huge luck, and players out of actually a low caliber in this team, they try to finish in the 16th, 17th somehow survive, because they have these 3-4 games where they have a fluke of games where they actually win. So let's see how this team performs. I'm actually worried in the upcoming season if they keep on performing in this level, they have a chance of getting relegated soon or never if they have this caliber of finishing on the line. And not a big fan of players. Goalkeeper, they have lost they lost playing Angus Gunn in goalkeeper, so I'm not a big fan of him. And when you talk about Southampton team, they have Danny Ings. Their midfield is Højbjerg, which is a huge prospect. We're trying to sign that captain. Really good, really good. The midfield is average, okay, good, but when it comes to up front and back, there's a lot of weak spots. I would say they had Virgil van Dijk before. Now they don't have a defense properly. They need to reshape their defense. They have Vestergaard, which they have got playing decent over there. Wingers, not of a great. They have Obafemi, who comes off the bench and scores goals. So there's something which they need to develop in their team is a bit of movement on the pitch, of passing in and out. They lose the ball really quickly. Once they lose the ball, and their defense is like just snaps out fast. They just get attacked really fast. And I've seen many matches against Southampton where they get attacked really fast and they concede goals. They get the lead and they concede goals very fast. So they need to try to get that experience and that spark which they need to do. Raf Hasenhüttl needs to know how to develop this team better. 9-0 against Leicester City was a horrible match where you can see the defense snapped up really bad in that game. And against Spurs, when they played in the FA Cup, they got snapped up really well after the 2-1 lead, 3-2, just giving away the match. And against Chelsea, they lost 4-1, just giving away the match. Their defense needs to improve. They need to think better. They need to make a good formation. It's too easy to go past that team. It's very easy. Even small teams go past them very easily. So the Southampton team needs to work more on that defense. Uh, Next, talking about Brighton. Brighton is a team which is also on the line. Not of great players over there. I have a serious doubt on this season whether they'll survive in the league or not. Because Bournemouth and Brighton are like 2 points away. West Ham are like 2 points away. So this is one team which I can put in them in the relegation list of whether they get relegated or not. There are chances of 85 to 90% they might get relegated, because this is like a team where you can say there's no spark in any, there's no that much quality in that defense, attack or midfield, where you can see in the West Ham you can say they can survive because of their attackers, they can score goals. Haller or Jared Bowen can come and perform, Felipe Anderson can come and perform. Where you can talk about a Watford team, same thing about attack, and they have experienced players over there. Bournemouth also has experience in the Premier League better than Brighton, and they can do so. uh, they might survive, but I feel like it's an Aston Villa, Norwich City, Bournemouth or Brighton in the relegation area. Yeah, just do my analysis of the Premier League teams, how they're going to perform. Let's hope for a good other 9 games for each teams to go away to end of the season and see where we can finish. Hopefully we can get 9 out of 327 points. Very ambitious, but 9 out of 327 points. We should at least get the maximum we can try to get, and hopefully I'm not sure about how we're going to finish the Champions League season, but try to get in the Champions League spot. Thank you. If you like the channel, please do subscribe, and if there's any feedback you want to give on it, yes, true. And yeah, hopefully you guys stay safe at the COVID-19 break, and we come back soon.